So normally Apocrypha is sort of a behind the scenes thing just for patrons, but I figured I'd make this one public for everyone because I want to share some cool elements of what's going on right now. I am actually currently in France guiding a tour for military history tours of World War I chronologically. So today we are at the Somme. This is part of, obviously, 1916. We've got 2 days of the tour devoted to 1916, one on the Somme and one at Verdun. And today, specifically, we are at the Canadian battlefield of Beaumont-Hamel. So if I come out of these Canadian frontline trenches, they didn't have stairs like this originally, but on July 1st, 1916, Canadian troops, in particular right here, Newfoundlanders, came out of these frontline trenches over the top, as they say, to go down across no man's land through that little ravine. And at the top of that next ridge, where the grass turns a bit yellow, were German front lines. Unfortunately, the Newfoundland guys were almost completely wiped out in this attack. They were in the second line of attack. They had to come over the top from relatively far back in their own trenches, because the front trenches, which you can see there just past that fence, those trenches by 8:45 in the morning were completely full of wounded and dying men. And so the Newfoundlanders came out more like where I am, silhouetted against the sky from the German troops, and were pretty effectively mowed down. Of 780 men in the attack, only 70 survived uninjured. One of the really cool things about the Beaumont-Hamel battlefield as it's preserved today is that you can actually walk all the way across no man's land and down to this area. These are the German positions, and we can turn around and look back up at the top of the hill where the Newfoundlanders were attacking from. And so this is one of the battlefields where you're really able to get some perspective on how far apart were these lines and what was it, what did it look like from both sides of the battle. That's something you don't always get, and I think it really gives people a good appreciation, a good perspective on elements of the war. So while we're here at the Somme, we are also visiting Lochnagar Crater, which was, at the time it was detonated, the largest single event man-made crater in human history at that point. This was tens of thousands of pounds of explosive buried under a German position, and when it was detonated, it blew a crater over 110 meters in diameter. That's an entire football field across, and about half as deep. In fact, it's such a huge crater that I can't even get it all in on a single camera angle. However, you can see some folks over there walking around, and that puts it in some perspective. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up on a bit of a somber note. We're here at the ossuary at Douaumont, which is the main monument and gravesite for the Battle of Verdun. There are about 130,000 men interred underneath the ossuary there, both French and German. So we've had a pretty cool tour so far. We've got a couple more days to go, and hopefully you guys enjoyed a little bit of a look at it. And if you're interested in being on one in the future, keep an eye on milltours.com. We'll see if we do this again next year.